We are live from the Mad Bomber podcast, coming to you greatly with the Oracle and the Mad Bomber. Today, we are going to do a little bit of digging. We got the Wyatt's Red Zone coming up at the end of the show, and we got a little bit of a promo. So, Oracle, we got the draft a little less than 2 weeks away. The Fernando Mendoza sweepstakes are ours. And right now, everywhere online, it's so funny. I wonder if the general managers are watching like the mice, like us, the guys that are trying to figure out what they're gonna do. And I wonder if they're like out there. I'm sure they're not watching us. I'm sure they got plenty of stuff to do. But I'm sure someone's getting a kick in the pants out of everybody's speculations. You know, I mean, if you read, we got Chris Bell going up, we got Casey Concepcion flying up. Then all of a sudden we have all these new offensive linemen, the people that weren't very that we didn't think were going to be in the first round. Now we're starting to see some linemen jumping into the first round. And there's one position that I don't think anybody's talked about at all in any of the media outlets is running back. I've seen very scarce information. Once you get past Jeremiah Love, there's nothing. You know, what did you have you noticed that in your and you're looking at the media outlets and other podcasts?
You know, Johnny, I don't know, man. I mean, I think the speculation, it's really my favorite time of the year because it's just what's going to happen. And we're waiting, and all it is picks. But at the same time, it's like a little domino. It's like one pick triggers another pick. So, you know, for the Raiders, it's a little more simple. I mean, we know who we're getting at number one, but I am so fascinated with this pick 36 because I feel like there's so many different avenues, so many different directions they could go down. Is it a receiver? Is it a corner? Is it a lineman? Is it a defensive lineman? Or is it a position like, I don't know, safety or running back that no one's thinking of? So many different ways we could go down with this, Johnny.
I do agree with Dan R. You do look like a thug today.
Hey, it's the Bay Area. When you're in the Northern Cal, I mean, I guess that's what happens, you know?
Yeah, you just for you folks out there who want to keep tabs on Oracle. Oracle's in the Bay Area this weekend. So this weekend he played MC Oracle. He was hitting all the pony spots. So let's get right into it. Where's your John Spytek at?
Oh, unfortunately, it's in San Diego. I should have packed it. Yeah, you know, I'm up here taking my top 30 visits, so I don't, you know, unfortunately, you know, I'm not the best packer. So, you know, I need to take an L on that one. I need to pack my hat wherever I go.
Well, don't forget it, because on May 15th, we are going on the Raider Cruise, where we will exclusively be talking to Raider greats. I actually had a talk with Greg Braceland this weekend, who's looking forward to going on the cruise. So he's getting himself ready. So, and with the 36th pick and the 2026 draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select.
Let's go with Chase Bisontis. And I know what some of you are thinking out there. You know, Alex, we got to get a X receiver. We need a Denzel Boston, or we need a Casey Concepcion or Zachariah Branch. And look, while those guys would help, I think getting another offensive lineman to really help out this unit. Getting Tyler Linderbaum was great. Getting Colton Miller back is going to be great. Same thing with JPJ. But a couple of things we got to think about here on the offensive line. I mean, number one, with JPJ, he's had a history of concussion issues, and he got hurt again last year. So are we sure that we could bank on the long-term health of JPJ? I don't know. I would like to, but I think the Raiders need to spend a priority pick on maybe an insurance policy that they could get in order to help them out in case something unfortunate does happen. Not saying I want it to happen. And a couple other things we got to think about. I mean, moving DJ Glaze maybe over to guard, but, you know, is he going to be good enough there? We don't know. They bring back Jordan Meredith. Do you want him starting? I'm sure they'd rather have someone else. And then Caleb Rogers, you're hoping that he could develop into a good starter, but what if he doesn't? So I think the problem with pick 36 is a lot of these tackles are going to be off the board by then. They're probably going to go all in the first round. Probably they're all going to be gone by pick 30. So at pick 36, you might be able to get a guard in Chase Bisontis who could work well in the zone scheme. He's good enough of a mover. He could come in and play left guard. You could run the wide zone with him. Hey, think about running that wide zone, outside zone running play, and you got Tyler Linderbaum and Chase Bisontis on doing reach blocks right there. That can really open up a front side A gap or a backside A gap, and which is the gap between the center and the guard, to where they could Ashton Janty can maybe have a cutback lane to where he could run it right up the middle. So if they're able to form some good chemistry together, that could really get Ashton Janty going, which I think will unlock the whole offense.
Yeah, and again, nobody needs to crap on Jordan Meredith because he is a very amicable backup, and that's a guy that you want to have in your room because he does everything good. He's not a dominant player, but like you said, Chase Bisontis, as I watched this tape, and again, I didn't watch a lot of Texas A&M, but I have watched a lot this week because of Casey Concepcion, and it sure seems like this offense was moving even with the sophomore quarterback. And is this something that the Raiders want to do? Take him over? I mean, obviously, if I'm the Raiders, Denzel Boston's there. He's my number one out of everybody we've talked about since we've gotten to round two. Shoot, we've been on round two for 3 weeks now. And because we don't know, and like I said, I can guarantee you that the Spyteks of the world and the GMs that are all looking at this, the Lynches and stuff, they don't know either. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel here, but gosh darn it, man. One thing that you see from two of the best general managers in football, from Howie Roseman and Les Snead, is they build the trenches. And you know what? They'll build backups, and they'll take guys that they think that are possible starters just to be backups, because they know that there's a war of attrition in those trenches. And when we get to the end of the season, there's always a talk about offensive line combinations. We hear about it all the time. You'll hear about it almost all the time when we're right around week 10, week 11. Oh, this is the 6th different offensive line Justin Herbert's had. This is the, and it's really something that the Raiders have to get to, is to have a unit, and especially with the zone blocking. There's a reach blocks that these guys got to get to. Texas A&M runs zone blocking, so it's going to be we're looking at a good fit if this is going to be your pick. Now I'm going to ask you the question. I'm always devil's advocate. Is Chase Bisontis a reach at 36, or is he a steal at 36?
I would say neither. I think he's kind of right in between, right there in the middle. I think he's a good, solid pick at 36. I don't think he's a reach, because I think good offensive linemen you pay a little bit of a tax for. Some people may say Mendoza might be a reach at number one. There might be a Jeremiah Love or a Sonny Styles. It's a better player, but at the end of the day, it's a quarterback. And for me, offensive linemen are premium positions. It's more than just tackles, because guards and centers also protect the quarterback as well. And when you have a number one overall pick in Fernando Mendoza, and then you took a top 10 pick on a running back in Ashton Janty last year, I think all 5 of these offensive linemen are premium positions. So maybe he's not a steal, as in terms of, you see Denzel Boston, who's being mocked in the 20s. And if he were to fall to pick 36, oh man, that would be a great steal. The Raiders got a great value. They get A+ on all the NFL.com draft graders and all that stuff. But I think at the end of the day, the most important thing the Raiders need to understand is, in building the team that they want to build, they need to invest priority picks in offensive linemen, and they need to address it in the earlier rounds, because that is more often than not where you get the solid players, not just at tackle, but also at guard too.
Well, this guy's a very, very big guard. He's a 6'5" guy, so this guy's a very big guard. Again, I'm coming into connection with him because of the Casey Concepcion, and watching that offense, and very impressive front line. Nepotism is already hit the Mad Bomber podcast. I like Spytek's philosophy he got from Jason Light in Tampa. Grab small school tackles that play them well, and then make them into an NFL guard. I think that's again, when you're the Raiders right now, you're looking at fit. You're looking at teams like, a lot of guys are talking about the offensive lineman from Penn State, but they clearly run a power running, where this guy right here, Chase Bisontis, he comes straight from a reach blocking, zone blocking style of school. So this kid's 6'5", 315, 31 inch arm span, 31 3/4. So he's got the size, he's got the measurables. Ran a great 40 at the combine, just a skosh over 5. And I mean, and today as a man 6'5", 315, I'm digging that. I'm liking that a lot. But I just wanted, here's what we all got to remember. Here's what we all got to remember. Wyatt came on yesterday, and he thinks there's going to be 4 receivers taken in the first round. You think there's going to be 6 to 7, and that's going to. And again, who's right, who's wrong, who knows? I mean, I think either of them can happen, but you got to remember, once something starts, it's like a floodgate. That position just becomes a sinkhole, and that position's gone. And then, I really do think, if I was a betting man, and I am after November 1st and do very well, I would say that linebacker's going to go on a run. I really believe that. I really believe that this year's linebackers are going to go on a run. But so far from all the ESPN guys, and I watched a draft show on this podcast. I forget, this guy has nailed 20 or 35% of his first round draft choices exactly, and he thinks that there's going to be an offensive line, first round offensive line plethora. So again, Oracle, what do you think? I mean, are you still think 6 to 7 wide receivers are going to go in the first round?
I'm going to go 6, and I think the guy you're talking about is Peter Schrager,
Yes.
who has nailed.
Yes.
Who's done really well. I mean, he's really well connected with a lot of sources in the league, coaches, GMs. I mean, I think it's going to be Carnell Tate goes 1. I'm going to go Mekhi Lemon goes probably anywhere from 11 to 16. And then I think Jordan Tyson, Omar Cooper, Denzel Boston, and Casey. I think Boston and Concepcion are going to go late in round 1. Do the Raiders want to trade up for them? They could, but I would see the Raiders I believe they have 10 draft picks. I would like to see them use all 10 draft picks, because I think they need to really, they need quantity on their roster, and you never know what kinds of, maybe one of these 4th round picks. I believe they have 3 4th round picks. If one of them is able to pop, and kind of like how a Max Crosby did. So, you could trade up for Denzel Boston, but at the same time, what are you giving up to get him? And at the same time, I mean, for a lot of people that want receivers, I mean, we do have Jalen Naylor. We do have Trey Tucker. We're trying to see if Jack Besh could develop more. That's 3 guys. Tariq Young came in. That's 4 guys. What about Dante Thornton? Does he take a year 2 leap? So look, I mean, I get it. I mean, they really don't have that bona fide big bodied receiver like a Denzel Boston is. But at the end of the day, I'm always going to be a believer that you need to have protection up front in order to make sure these guys have enough time to get open. And, with Bisontis, he could come in. I believe he could compete to start at left guard. Now, he does have the 31-inch arms are a little on the shorter side. That's like a lot of guys in this draft at a lot of positions. I mean, I feel like arm length gets talked about more often than not in this draft than any other draft I've noticed for some reason. And So I think, yeah, and I think there will be a run on tackles too. I think there's going to be 8 offensive linemen that get drafted in the first round, and I think Bisontis could be the first offensive lineman drafted in round 2. So hopefully the Raiders, in my opinion, that would make a lot of sense for them.
Okay. Again, going back. Hi, Papa. My grandson. I love nepotism, and I love nepotism on this show. Again, it's going to be a fun night. That first night, the Oracle and I will be at the Palms with my sons, watching the draft per the Raiders, and then we will be at the Raider facility, the Raiders headquarters. And I still think tickets are available. If you go to the Raiders website, scroll all the way down to the bottom. There's tickets. They're going to have. I think they're setting up inside the field, the inside field at the headquarters. And the word on the street is Fernando Mendoza is going to be there. How accessible? I don't know. What do I know? I can just tell you that it would be really, really magical if he did show up. Because remember, Mendoza will be at home with his family when he's selected number 1. So, Oracle, I got to ask you another question about this draft. If there's a plethora, the receivers are all gone, and Chase Bisontis is there, would you trade down, or would you grab Chase Bisontis immediately?
I would trade down in that scenario because, again, I think the Raiders need more quantity and picks. And remember, the Raiders trade back, I believe it was twice last year. And if they're able to get don't just trade down to trade down, but if you're able to get a suitable offer, and because I do think at the end of the day, there are a couple of holes and a couple of directions that the Raiders can go down. So if they do happen to miss out on Bisontis, I am confident that there's another player. It doesn't have to be an offensive lineman, but if there's like a Chris Johnson, if they trade back a few spots and they're able to get a Chris Johnson, or they're able to get a Lee Hunter or a Christian Miller, I think that could be a good play for the Raiders. And they might be able to get 2 offensive linemen. They might be able to get one in round 3. They might be able to get one in round 4. So kind of like how they did last year with Caleb Rogers and Charles Grant. So
I like that.
I think they don't need to be so rigid in how they go about it.
I do too. I'm going to ask you one last question before we get to your next player. If say all the chips fall to you, Lee Hunter's there, Denzel Boston's there, Bisontis is there. Wow, I would even say one of the safeties is there. What's that pick you covet for this team?
I think if Boston is there, Boston may be too good to pass up in that scenario.
I agree.
Now, if he is there, that would make me kind of question some things. I'm like, maybe the draft nicks were a little too high on him than maybe people in the league were, because that's something we always find out on draft day when there's these so-called slides on players. When in reality, I always interpret that as the league not being as high as a Mel Kiper or a Todd McShay or Daniel Jeremiah or Dane Brugler as the intel they were getting on a certain player. So that's one of the things that always intrigues me about the draft, is that we hear all this speculation and then kind of the truth comes out on draft day of how the league really feels about a player.
Well said. As always, Oracle, you are the man. I couldn't have said it better myself. So, with the pick in the 2026 draft, John Spytek and the Oracle select.
Oh man, let's go with Dominique Orange, aka Big Citrus. Johnny, I hope you're getting your vitamin C in on this one, because this is a guy who is a 325-pounder defensive tackle, nose guard, plays right over the center. Maybe he'll go in between the guard and the center, play a one gap, but really nothing else more than that. But a little bit of a one-dimensional player, but that's okay. That's okay. It's round 3. And we need to understand that, you're not always going to get a complete player in round 3, but you are able to maybe get a guy who can come in and stuff the run. And this is what Big Citrus does. He did it at Iowa State. And, there's really not a whole lot of explaining to do with Big Citrus. And I kind of like that about him because let's look at the Raiders defensive line. We got Max Crosby, Kwity Paye, Tyree Wilson, and Malcolm Kuntz that could all play on the edge. You got Crosby and Kuntz, who are more your typical edge players. And then you got Wilson and Paye, who could kick inside a little bit on passing downs. And then you got Adam Butler and Thomas Booker, who are right around 300 pounds. So they're defensive tackles, but they're not exactly nose tackles, even though they might have to play it. So why not, get the Raiders outside of J.J. Pegues? I don't really think, and Broderick Martin, if he makes the team, they don't really have a guy who's 320 pounds that we can really count on and say is like, oh, man, that guy's going to play a ton of snaps. So I think this is a little bit of a position of need. Now, the good news about it is because you have Crosby, Kuntz, Paye, Wilson, who could all on third down be on the field. He could be a first and second down player, which I think is ideal.
Or a goal line.
Or goal line, exactly. So he comes in, he has a role, he has a purpose, and he's able to just do his job. So that's what we're going to be getting out of Big Citrus. And I think in the third round, this could be a great value. I would love that. Go quarterback round 1, Chase Bisontis round 2, D lineman round 3. I mean, go back to meat and potatoes a little bit.
You mean the Howie Rosemondales?
Oh yeah, hey, it wins championships.
I'll tell you what, whenever you get to a position and someone goes down, I mean, look at it's happened to the Rams, it's happened to the Eagles, and those are the teams that can rebound and move on, and they put a piece of the puzzle, and the machine keeps going. You can never have enough good offensive and defensive linemen. And I think right now with Dennison being our offensive line coach, it's going to be a real good teacher to mentor these guys on the zone blocking. Remember, guys, they're going to be learning a whole new dance step. So they're not coming out here doing the can dance. They're going to be doing the what do they call that? The Ritz, whatever. They're going to be doing blocking schemes that they haven't done before with the Raiders. And we have a couple of good guys on the line right now, and having Linderbaum there to help possess that, be the quarterback of that line, having Rick Dennison in there, I think we're doing really, really well. Like I said, again, since the Giants beat the Cowboys and the last game of the season, everything's fallen our way, even maybe getting Max Crosby back. So, Oracle, I heard you had a little soiree this weekend up in Sacramento, and I heard that you hijacked one of our guys.
Yeah, definitely. I decided, why don't I go check out this whole shenanigans place? What are the shenanigans that are going on there? And I had a good time over there. I met up our guy, Steven Chavez, and then Wyatt came over, the Red Zone. And, it was just a little powwow. And then the owner of Shenanigans, Chris, came by. Big Raider fan, tons of Raider history that he knows about. Yeah, and great food at Shenanigans. I had a cowboy burger, onion rings, some sauce. I'll tell you what, guys. If you guys are in the Sacramento area, you got to go over to Shenanigans and check it out. Go check out their watch parties. Go check out the food. Go get yourself a drink. Go get yourself some Woodson Reserve. And just have a good old time over there. I guarantee you will leave satisfied.
Wow. Talk about Woodson whiskey. And here comes Wyatt. He pops right up. Wyatt, the red zone's on fire these days. Did you see how many hits he got yesterday on his analysis? Definitely he doesn't have that many. He doesn't have that much family. So we can't say that was nepotism, although it is very much encouraged on the Mad Bomber podcast. Wyatt, how was your weekend?
Oh yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, like what Oracle said, like just meeting up with shenanigans. Great food, great vibes, cool people. It's a great place to catch a Raiders game or just go out for a bite to eat.
It looks like you have your John Spytek hat on today.
Yes.
He doesn't do it like you, Oracle. What's going on?
Hey, he's got to do him.
He's got to just do you. Hey, so you saw what the two players Oracle put up there. Which one are you the most excited about? Let's go. I'm going to give you one of the two. Which one makes you the most excited?
Between the two, I like Big Citrus a lot, up the middle. I get that he's around later. So, technically the value, in terms of his player prospect isn't the same. But I just think having a big presence up front, like Big Citrus, that would be huge for our defense.
Yeah, we haven't had a Jonathan Hankins type in a while. And I know they tried it with JJ Pegues last year, and I'm looking really forward to seeing in year 2. So Big Citrus just looks like he has a good vision in the backfield. It looks like he trails very well. It looks very nimble for a big guy. So again, didn't watch him. I don't want to say I don't know who the offensive lineman he was playing against in those tapes. So tape looks good, but I'd like to see more. So here we are in the red zone. It's first and 10, 8-yard line. And Wyatt, who are you going to hand the ball off to?
Yeah, well, here, if anything, we're actually throwing it and defending it with cornerback D'Angelo Pons out of Indiana.
What?
Now he's a top cover corner in this draft. And I'm just going to get it right out of the way right now. His downside is that he's 5'9", 173 pounds. So critics are they're gonna talk about his size as being an issue why he slides. Because I honestly think he could be like a late first, early second round talent just because of how good of a cornerback he is. And in this case, it's a prime example of production over size, in my opinion. Now, he posted an 89.9 defensive PFF grade rating, which was 4th in the nation. And that was against good competition. I mean, he went up against guys like Jeremiah Smith, Denzel Boston, some of the best receivers in the nation, and he held his own. And at the 2026 Combine, he was graded out as the highest vertical jump at 43.5 inches, which I think can kind of help him compete at the point of catch against taller receivers. Now, obviously, being 5'9", you might kind of want to protect him and have him more in the nickel / slot. But he can when he's called upon to guard a taller receiver, he can kind of hold his own. And he has extremely impressive hip fluidity and short area coverage. And he plays with tons of physicality and competitiveness, which, as you can see on tape right here, he's just meeting the ball in the point of attack every single time. And he can help out in the run game as well, which would really solidify the Raiders' secondary as we look at it right now.
Yeah, I agree. Very impressive. I mean, this guy, I watched a lot of Caleb Downs, and this guy's about as fluid as Caleb Downs is. Different player, obviously, but if you're the Raiders, where do you slot him in next year? You draft him. What are you going to do? What's your backfield going to look like? Slot in your back three.
Well, I think you kind of settle it in camp. I think he can compete on that boundary because in college he played 85% of his snaps as an outside cornerback. But I will say the NFL scouts do kind of project him more as a starting nickel / slot cornerback. So maybe he mixes in with Taron Johnson in that nickel slot position. And even maybe he gets some looks outside is that on the CB2 part of the depth chart.
Yeah, I mean, you can never have. You guys remember Amik Robertson, right? Played for the Raiders, and now he's with the Lions. This guy reminds me of even a better Amik Robertson. I did like the way that Amik Robertson used to track down balls, and he would stick his head in there a lot. And it looks like this guy does the same thing. But do you think he'll be there, Wyatt, at 36?
I think there's a pretty good chance he's going to be there. He's going on consensus in the middle to late second round. But I could definitely see a team that believes in his game and capabilities to take him in the earlier part of the second round. And that might be where the Raiders fall into that category. And I mean, he was the soul of Indiana's championship defense, so he can thrive in high pressure situations.
Well, I mean, if you watch the game against Miami and Ohio State, he had one of his best games. And then when he played Oregon, he started the game off with the pick six. So, yeah. I mean, so the guy's definitely knows. The guy's definitely a football player. And I'm with you. I mean, I've never been a guy that worries about size. The only thing I would worry about is that the offensives, if he did start, that the offenses would run motion to get the bigger guy on him. And then that would be up to him if he could get it and make it happen. So I love the pick. I love it a lot. I liked watching him play because obviously with Mendoza being on TV every week, we got to watch all of Indiana play. That's why half the people are in love with Cooper, Surratt, and McGovern. I mean, I haven't heard much about McGovern. Have you guys? The center, the guy who was actually, he was the MVP of the Pro Bowl, right? The Rose Bowl. The center.
Yeah, I know you're talking. I think they're talking about him as a late round pick. Or are you? I think you're talking about Pat. Is his name Pat Coogan? From Indiana?
Oh, yeah. Coogan.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but yeah, I mean, I haven't heard much about him. I was looking through the lineman. Didn't get much about him. So, with the 5th round pick for the Las Vegas Raiders in the 2026 draft, where's it at? The Raiders select Jonah Coleman. Watch this guy, guys. We talked about this earlier, the fellas and I, how McVay uses Blake Corum in the late parts of games, start of the second half. If you wanted to give Ashton Genty a whistle, what about this guy?
I'm down with that. I mean, I think they could have a little thunder and thunder combo going on here with Jonah Coleman and Ashton Genty, and maybe not the fastest in terms of top end speed guy, but I think he's got some good acceleration. On the highlights right there, you could see some good vision, and he's able to leap over some guys a little bit. But yeah, the Raiders definitely do need a backup running back. I'm curious to see if they do target someone in the draft. There's a guy out of Kentucky, I forget his name, but he has some off the field issues too. I think they can maybe target him in the later rounds. Do they maybe look at Emmett Johnson out of Nebraska? But I think this Jonah Coleman guy, I saw him mocked in the second round earlier on in the process around like March. But he's kind of fallen by the wayside. I think after the combine when Mike Washington really blew it up out of Arkansas, right. I think he kind of got pushed down a little bit. But yeah, this definitely could be one of these guys. Every year there's a running back that gets picked in the later rounds that everyone kind of looks at and go, we probably should have drafted this guy a little higher. So, but if Ashton Genty were to get hurt, I mean, who's going to be the running back in the Raiders right now? I mean, that question is not answered. So this is something that needs to be addressed.
Very similar to Ashton Genty. He has very good hands. He's not an astute route runner. This is a guy who started out as a Wildcat in Arizona, and then and he actually as a sophomore made he was all Pac-12 third string. Was that how they say it? Third string, third team. And then Jed Fish when Jed Fish got the job in Washington, this was the first guy he brought over in the portal. So there was some familiarity with him, and you just don't bring guys you don't like. You bring, especially on a running back, very, very, very shifty. The problem is last year he did get a knee injury towards the end of the season. He missed many games in November, and the last couple of games he had wasn't very good. So what you're seeing here is a lot of the early 2026. Why I brought this up is there's not a whole lot of running back talk at all after Jeremiah Love. There really isn't. And so we definitely have nothing as a backup. We have Labe, and then there's one other guy we have on our running back that we have from last year. Nothing substantial, actually a special teamer. So Carmen wants to chime in. Coleman gets gassed after a few runs, can be explosive, but is it worth the pick? Well, I agree. And that's what I want to talk about. It's like, we've been talking about the Lee Hunters and the Bostons and the Thiedemans and Zachariah Branches, but we still haven't addressed two positions realistically, other than Wyatt, is linebacker and running back. We don't have any.
Yeah, I mean, running back for sure. I think they're going to take in the draft.
Have to.
Because they've literally said in the opening press conferences that they want to run a similar style of a two-man backfield with Genty, and then Lobby, I don't know, he can maybe be a third down back, but
I don't think he's making the team this year. If I was a betting man, I would say that he's not even making the team. He has never done anything to impress. But back to the running back, we had Najee Harrison once. We got him in. He left without a contract. Do you think that they're buyer beware because of his Achilles?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of a red flag with him because Jim Harbaugh brought him in with the Chargers last year, and they hardly utilized him at all. I think he got hurt, but
yeah, he was out for the year after game 2. But
right.
But these are kind of the mysteries, and this is like Oracle said, this is the best time of the year if you're looking at personnel. Game wise, it's the best time when games are going on. But from March 1st to the draft, this is really kind of a cool time because everybody's putting in their brackets, their NCAA March Madness brackets on players right now for the NFL, and to me it's kind of fun watching however the people translate what they think the Raiders need and what's going to happen, what the run's going to be on. Is the run going to be on wide receivers? Is it going to be offensive linemen? I don't think there's going to be a run on running backs, right?
Not earlier on in the draft, I don't think. But obviously, at some point in the draft, there's going to be a lot of running backs getting taken. And I think the Raiders definitely get a chance that are one of them, maybe in that third, fourth round, fifth round, like you said.
Maybe that's where they pick back. That's where they come back and pick back. So, guys, I wanted to ask you guys one last thing. If you're Clint Kubiak at the start of training camp, do you say that Kirk Cousins is your starter, Fernando Mendoza is your starter, or that we have a quarterback competition?
For me personally, I would say we have a competition. I want to, even though Pete Carroll's gone and there's billboards that say compete around Vegas, no more. I do want a competition because I think it'd be good for Mendoza, and I think it's healthy competition. The Raiders don't have to make it controversial. I think it's okay that they're able to bring in a veteran and they're able to draft the guy number 1 overall and may the best man win. Because it's all part of the development for Mendoza to go in and be in, to show he could fight. And I know he has it in him. No one's questioning his toughness or anything like that. But we just want to see it. That's it.
Right. Wyatt?
I think whenever they feel that Mendoza is ready, I think he's going to get the shot, It's just that simple for me.
And it could, and who's to say that Mendoza won't beat out Cousins? That's kind of where it's going to be, is the competition is going to be there. And then the last question of the night, Leonard Ibarra, competition to see who gels with the best with the offense. And I think that's what. Let's go back to. Let me ask you guys one more question on this. Put your Clint Kubiak hat on. Do you put Cousins out there preseason as the starter, and then you bring Mendoza in, and then you bring Mendoza in as a starter in game 2, and let Cousins play backup? Because you want both team. You want the guy to play with ones, and when the ones are playing, you want to see him play with the ones. If he lights up the twos, and Kirk Cousins, plays well too, I say you put him in. And I know we're getting way ahead of ourselves. It's preseason, but that's the kind of competition I want to see. I don't want to see him running with the twos the whole time, and him looking like a superstar. And then there's just, it's not real.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I would actually, because the second preseason game, because now there's only 3 preseason games,
Right?
is that dress rehearsal for the first week. I would put Mendoza in that one because I want to see him in a tough situation.
Right.
And I don't think Mendoza's the type of guy where if he has a clunker, it's going to kill him mentally. He has a strong faith foundation. I think if even worst case scenario happens in that game, he'll be able to go back to the drawing board. He'll be able to use it as a learning tool to go forward and not make the same mistakes that he does. So I think, yeah, even though they're in a competition, Mendoza's going to need more reps just because he's a rookie. And Kirk Cousins, this is his 16th year in the league, something like that. So, yeah, I think that is a good opportunity for him week 2 of the preseason to go out there with the ones and maybe make it a little hard for him.
Right. And if you like that, if you like the Oracle, like and subscribe. Wyatt, what do you think? Do you I know you're like me. You want Mendoza in there as soon as you can, but it's got to make sense.
Yeah, it's got to make sense. And I think they also both got to get the same amount of opportunities with the first team, because it just wouldn't, like you guys were saying, like it wouldn't make sense to just throw him in with the second teamers and he lights it up. And then, everyone's like, oh, look how great he's doing. But it's like, it's not even with the guys that we're going to be seeing on week 1. So it's like, we want to see them both get a fair shot. And I think that'll diminish any QB controversies that go down, at least early on.
Well, if you go back to 2014, put your 2014 hats on. The quarterback that the Raiders brought in to be their number 1 quarterback was Matt Schaub. And at the number 2 pick in the 2014 draft from Fresno State, Derek Carr. And Derek Carr was backup. And then he lit it up game 4. And he was started from game 1. I mean, I'm sure you guys remember 2014.
I do. Yeah, that was a great draft. It was Khalil Mack and then Derek Carr. I'm just happy you called him Derek Carr, Johnny, not by the nickname that you gave him.
the Kardashian. Derek Kardashian. Hey, if you guys are still Kardashians out there, subscribe and like. Okay, if you guys are Kardashians, subscribe and like. But that's again. We went back 2 weeks ago. We talked about the quarterback controversy, and it's going to be there. Sorry, guys. If you want to jet truck, these aren't the drones you're looking for. Yep, these are the drones you're looking for. There's going to be a quarterback controversy. You bet your buns there is. So that's going to be the gist of that. So guys, we will be back next Monday at 6:30. We may do something. I'll let everybody else know. And then since you guys were at this place, Wyatt, you start us off. Oracle, you send us out.
Yeah, so we got that draft night party coming up on Thursday, April 23rd from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. It's going to be a great time out there. We're all going to be getting hyped up for the Raiders, hopefully taking Mendoza. Yeah, it's going to be a great time.
That's going to be fun. Oracle.
Yeah, it's going to be a really fun time, And hey, if you're there, go get yourself the Cowboy. It's a burger with onion rings. It's got some good sauce on it. They got these really good zucchini fries too at Shenanigans with really good food. So yeah, if you're over there, meet Bill Romanowski, get the Cowboy, watch Fernando Mendoza get drafted. I think that's a nice little trifecta you got going on draft night.
Are you guys stoked about Mendoza getting drafted? Isn't that cool?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Me too.
Definitely.
It's really, really going to be amazing. And it's just, I just can't wait. It's going to be great. I am looking so forward to having that kid on our team. It's going to be nice to have some real nice silver and black number 15 jerseys to drown out those sissy red 15 jerseys that we see every year. Hate it. All right, guys, we will see you next Monday. We will be putting some shorts out, I think. And Greg Blades, yes, it's always a good time to go get donuts at that great place we all know about. All right, guys, we'll talk next week. Good show, fellas. You guys brought the game, the Red Zone and the Oracle live right here on the Mad Bomber Podcast. Good night now.
Good night now.
Roethlisberger. Intercepted again. Picked off by Chris Carr. This is a foot race with Roethlisberger. And there he goes. Have really changed the situation here. Intercepted back for the touchdown. The Jets could capitalize. Garner. Well, this is going to make everything move. Everything. They're on to Foxborough. Touchdown. Tannehill under pressure, and it's intercepted. Tipped and picked off. Maurice Hurst off to the races. Tannehill cuts him down at about the 25-yard line. What a turn of events for the Raiders. Tim Brown deep for the punt from Hendrick. Come Raiders. Down at the 18-yard line. Hendrick knew he couldn't get that kickoff and held on to it. The penalty they spotted at the 7. They hand off, it's Pryor. Lot of real estate to the 30.